bad guy. Yeah, Special Forces? Yes, I'd like for you to track down a Mr. Nobody. Well, I don't know his location. Well, his voice is very gravelly when he spoke to me over the phone. Oh, you can track him down by locating his calls? Oh, good. Well, when you find him, call me back. Okay? Bye. Hello everyone, Sylvan here. Now, don't you worry about me and Mr. Nobody. I got some special forces tracking him down already, and they'll inform me on when they find him. So, let's talk about Anastasia. She was one of the daughters to the Russian Tsar Nicholas II. Then in 1918, she and her family were executed within the early days of the Russian Revolution after the First World War. But after the tragedy, there were rumors that Anastasia had survived the execution, while some still say she didn't. But the story after the tragedy made its way to the stage, as a highly fictionalized story where Anastasia survived. Then in 1956, the play was turned into a live-action film starring Yul Brynner and Ingrid Bergman, which was then remade in 1997 as an animated musical from directors Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. As you can see, I was going to do a compare and contrast of the two Anastasia movies. But you know what? I'm not going to, because in my opinion, the new one's better. Though I still want to go over both of them, since not a lot of people know of the original film. So, this is going to be a review/compare. With that said, let's get started. A young woman named Anastasia, aka Anya, meets up with two conmen named Dmitri and Vladimir, who decide to bring her to the Dowager Empress Marie, while teaching Anya the ways of being a royal. In the meantime, a villain named Rasputin plots his way into killing Anya, since the curse he brought to her family wasn't fulfilled. So what do you think about this movie? Well, I find it to be a very good and very enjoyable film. There are some differences and similarities between the old and the new film. Both of them have the same plot. Anya comes across the conmen, they teach her the royal ways and family history. She's presented to the Dowager Empress, who first refused, but then accepts when finding out a secret she knows of Anya. The main conman refused to take the money, for he loves the Grand Duchess. Then Anya chooses the conman instead of taking the throne. But the biggest difference is the villain. There is no bad guy in the original, but the remake presented Rasputin, who was a real figure in the Romanov history, who became a friend to the family until rumors spread of his negative influence. Here, he's portrayed as a traitor to the Romanovs, thought to be a holy man, and sold his soul for a dark requiem to bring a curse to the Romanovs. And I have to say, he's my favorite character in the movie. Sure, at times he's played as a comedic villain, but his purpose, his attitude, his use of the dark arts, and having the voice of Christopher Lloyd make him an enjoyable character. Speaking of which, the other characters in both movies are good as well, though the original doesn't put as much thought into them as the remake. Anastasia was played by Ingrid Bergman in the old and voiced by Meg Ryan in the new. The Dowager Empress was played by Helen Hayes in the old and voiced by Angela Lansbury in the new. But the conmen sort of differ. In the old, there are three: Sergei, played by Yul Brynner, Boris, played by Akim Tamiroff, and Pyotr, played by Sasha Petov. Where in the new, there are two: Dmitri, voiced by John Cusack, and Vlad, voiced by Kelsey Grammer. And here's my big problem with the original. The relationship between Bergman and Brynner is not interesting. Brynner always wants to keep teaching Bergman until he's satisfied in presenting her to the Empress, where Bergman doesn't want to go through with this. And yet there is no chemistry between them. They mostly bicker, and there's no scene where they find out that they like each other. The new one got the relationship down right. Both are briefly shown early when Anya and her grandmother make their escape, and Dmitri at times has feelings for her as he and Anya journey from Russia to Paris. So, Throughout the whole movie, Dmitri and Anya's relationship works for showing more between them and alone. And there are a few little touches between the two films as well. Like the secret between the Empress and Anya. In the original, it's whenever Anastasia gets nervous, she coughs, where in the remake, it's the music box. And there's the Empress's second hand, I believe, Elena, played by Martita Hunt in the old, and Sophie, voiced by Bernadette Peters in the new. And while there is no animal sidekicks in the old film, the new film does have them. Puka the dog and Bartok the bat, voiced by Hank Azaria. And unlike the original, the remake has a lot of great songs. Rumor in St. Petersburg, In the Dark of the Night, Journey to the Past, Once Upon a December, You Can Learn to Do It Too, and Paris Holds the Key to Your Heart. And while all the songs have memorable tunes, a couple of them have forgettable lyrics. But like I said, this is a review/compare, so I'm not going to choose a winner since I already stated before that the new one is better. As a whole, this movie is very good. The characters are really good, the story is good, the animation is great, and the songs are great too. Directors Don Bluth and Gary Goldman had made a really good and very enjoyable movie that I say is better than the original, with more thought on the relationship between the two leads, an antagonist that is really enjoyable, and all of its fun songs. So today, this movie will be given a rating of 4 stars. Thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and tune in next Wednesday for a new video.